The day breaks not with sun, but with the distant growl of thunder rumbling over Flagstaff. 6:12 a.m. Too early for headlines, but news vans already swarm the courthouse stairs like metal vultures waiting for the first sign of activity within. One light glows in the frosted glass of courtroom 3B. Within, the clerk fiddles with her headset and speaks softly to the bailiff. Judge Harris is ready. Bring it in. A deputy in uniform walks down the gleaming hall with a sealed brown envelope labeled State of Utah Vin Kody Brown. The sound of his boots turns heads. The hall seems to narrow suddenly. When he makes his way through the doors, the paper shudders slightly in his grasp, not out of fear, but in the knowledge that what is contained will light the next national firestorm. Meanwhile, in another part of town, TV crews gather before a gated development. Journalists practice their leads. The man who used to make headlines redefining modern-day polygamy might now recast white-collar crime. Behind the gates, the Brown residences sit eerily quiet, no curtains billowing, no vehicles departing the driveway. The neighbors exchange hushed tones. They told us it was taxes, but $39 million. Back in court, Judge Harris takes off her reading glasses and examines the affidavit. Paragraph 12 mentions phony filings, lost land trust proceeds, shell companies with recognizable family names. The judge lets out a sigh, signs, and dates the last page. Warrant approved, she says softly. The soft tap of the gavel is hardly audible over the thunder outside, but its resonance is like a verdict in itself. The clerk at once seals the document, stamping it official in deep red ink. A runner whisks it away to the records office as the bailiff calls dispatch, confirming active arrest authority, target Brown, Kody Wynn. Static crackles, then a sharp copy that. Within minutes, the news leaks. Phones buzz in every corner of the sister wives' world. Former spouses glance at their screens. Christine in her kitchen, Janelle in her RV office, Meri scrolling at dawn, and each feels the same chill. The story they once lived is now evidence in a courtroom. The clock on the bench over the center reads 9 a.m. exactly, but the atmosphere in courtroom 3B has been charged for an hour. Every available seat is taken, reporters crowded shoulder to shoulder, eyes glinting behind lenses, microphones pointed like guns. The constant click of cameras blends with the nervous murmur of spectators waiting for the moment of the day, the official reading of State of Utah versus Kody Brown. When finally the bailiff steps forward and says, "All rise," the whispering ceases at once. Judge Rebecca Harris enters, robe billowing, face chiseled from granite. Her eyes scan the room, a wordless message that passion will have no refuge here. "Be seated," she barks, and the soft creak of people seating themselves is nigh on reverent. The clerk swallows, clearing her throat, and starts reading the docket. Case number 24 CR 1197. The State of Utah versus Kody Brown. The charges are conspiracy to commit fraud, falsification of business documents, and misuse of assets worth $39 million. Gasps run through the gallery. The figure alone seems unfathomable, too big to contain within the confines of this room. Kody Brown, wearing a crisp dark suit that cannot conceal the shake in his hands, sits next to his defense lawyer, Martin Keene. He looks once in the direction of the gallery where Meri, Janelle, Christine and Robyn sit in scattered seats, each enveloped in her own silence. Their expressions are inscrutable: pain, anger, fear, perhaps all three. The cameras record it all. Prosecutor Regina Park stands. "Your Honor, the state of Utah presents to you a case based on fraud, secret bank accounts, false signatures, and a web of shell corporations linked directly to Mr. Brown's business and personal interests." Keene fixes his tie and fires back effortlessly. "My client is a public figure, not a criminal genius. We plan to demonstrate that these so-called fraudulent transfers were legitimate family investments, misinterpreted by speculation and vendettas." Judge Harris inches forward, her tone calibrated but resolute. "This is a court of law, not a television talk show. Evidence, not sentiment, will decide truth here." The gavel comes down once. The sound of it bounces across the room. The trial is underway, and every Brown family secret that was buried is now scurrying into the light. The thick wooden door groans open as defense attorney Martin Keene enters courtroom 3B, like a man walking into a game of chess. He already plans to win. Each step is deliberate, His black briefcase slams open in impeccable time. His silver cufflinks glint off the morning light. He doesn't merely defend Kody Brown, he oozes control, something Kody has been surrendering piece by piece for months. Keene stands tall before Judge Harris. "Your Honor," he starts, his tone honed and authoritative. Before the court plunges headlong into rumor and gossip, I must record for the record that my client is innocent of each and every charge brought against him. He pauses for dramatic effect, surveying the crowd. The crowd, full of reporters, hardly catches its breath. Mr. Brown is a public figure, a husband, a father, a man whose private family life has been dissected on national television for over a decade. What we see here is not a fraud case, it's a witch hunt. A few murmurs circulate in the audience. Christine and Janelle share a strained look. Kody, beside Keene, leans forward ever so slightly, jaw clenched. For the first time, his voice shatters the silence. "They want to ruin me," he growls just loud enough for the microphones to pick up. Prosecutor Regina Park jumps to her feet at once. "Objection to grandstanding, Your Honor, the defense is pleading emotion, not fact." Judge Harris's gavel comes down once. "Sustained, Mr. Keene, speeches later. Presently speak to the issue of risk in custody." Keene nods unflustered. "Then let me be plain, Mr. Brown is not a flight risk. He has extensive ties in this community, businesses, family, children. He came willingly today, aware that the state planned to ask for his arrest. He is no threat to the public." Park retorts vigorously. "With the exception of the truth, Your Honor, the evidence indicates active concealment of millions. He's had years to get ready for today." Judge Harris folds her fingers together. "Then let the evidence do the talking. In the meantime, Mr. Brown is under watch." The tension in the courtroom is palpable, like electricity before a storm. Cameras zoom in on Kody's white face as Keene whispers, "Calm down, the game's just beginning." Outside again roars thunder, nature's gavel imitating the one indoors. The lights dim a bit as a court technician rolls in an enormous projector screen, its white surface shining brightly against the polished brown panels of Courtroom 3B. The atmosphere feels like a movie. Everyone knows something critical is about to occur. Judge Harris gives a nod to Prosecutor Regina Park, who comes forward, grasping a folder tightly in her hand. "Your Honor," she states calmly, "the state is prepared to introduce its first exhibit." A hush falls. The courtroom's tension is so thick it seems to absorb sound. Park turns toward the technician. "Please display Exhibit A." With a soft electronic whine, the screen comes to life. Lines of spreadsheets and bank statements flash by. Rows of figures streaming in dizzying accuracy. Each line is stamped with the name of a known entity. Cedarfall Holdings, Arc North Media, Desert Creek LLC. To anyone else, they're nothing more than numbers. But to someone who understands, they are strands of a web, one that points straight to Kody Brown. Regina's tone is tranquil but acerbic. "These accounts, Your Honor, are a sophisticated scheme for money laundering that spans 3 states. During 5 years, money described as media consulting fees and property development investments was channeled through at least 7 phony companies, all operated by proxies linked to Mr. Brown." She clicks ahead to the next slide. A flowchart illuminated under courtroom lights. Lines wind from one corporation to another, pouring into one box ringed in red. Brown Family Holdings primary beneficiary, Kody Brown. Gasps ripple through the audience. Janelle glances down. Christine clings to the rail. And even Robyn's sleek coolness shatters for an instant. Keene glides up easily. "Your Honor, the prosecution is offering speculation in fancy clothes. These are routine family business accounts, investments, not crimes." Regina squares off against his challenge. "Then perhaps Mr. Keene can tell us why the identical monies that departed Arc North Media's as consulting fees wound up paying for a private residence in Arizona registered solely in Kody Brown's name." A moment of quiet. Cameras snap. The judge folds forward, eyes narrowing. "Miss Park," she instructs, "signify Exhibit A as entered into evidence." And with that one sentence, the case is transformed from suspicion and rumor into something indisputable. Evidence on record. The bailiff's voice cuts through the courtroom's low hum. "Christine Ruth Brown, come forward to the stand." All the cameras in courtroom 3B face the double doors. The air seems thicker, laden with the weight of mutual history and treachery. Christine enters slowly, her pale yellow blouse shaking with each step. Her eyes, though serene, hold the kind of weight only truth can provide. As she puts up her right hand to swear, flashes from the press gallery dance across her face once familiar to millions as warm and patient and forgiving. Now she appears a woman through with pretense. The bailiff moves aside, and Christine sits resting her hands demurely on the rail. Prosecutor Regina Park approaches softly, voice measured. Mrs. Brown, how long were you connected with the Brown family's common business dealings? Christine takes a deep breath. Nearly 16 years. I assisted with real estate filings, product transactions, even promotional contracts for our program. She pauses, her voice constricting. But things started to alter. I was asked to sign forms I didn't recognize. Routine updates, they told me. I believed them. The prosecutor nods. Who presented you with those forms? Christine looks over at Kody, who sits a few feet away. Kody did. Occasionally Robyn, a rustling in unison runs through the crowd. Judge Harris holds up a hand for quiet. Christine's voice becomes more forceful. When I questioned him about the transfers, he assured me not to worry, that it was all part of family asset management. I later discovered copy land deed, same parcels, different signatures. My name on one, his on the other. That's when I knew something wasn't right. Keene, the defense lawyer, rises. Mrs. Brown, are you here as a witness or as a disgruntled ex-wife? Christine doesn't flinch under his glare. I'm here as a woman who trusted the wrong person. The courtroom murmurs. Park complies with a low voice, setting the duplicates on the judge's bench. Exhibit B, Your Honor, supporting documentation from Mrs. Brown's testimony. Judge Harris reads the document, his face a mask, entered into record. Inside the gallery, Janelle wipes away her tears. Christine doesn't glance back. For the first time in years, she's at last speaking without fear. The second witness walks in with reserved purpose. Janelle Brown, no nonsense, level-headed and famous for her cool sense, stands before the bench with a frayed leather notebook clutched against her chest. Where Christine's dramatic entry had been heart-wrenching, Janelle's is deliberate, like someone walking in to complete a jigsaw puzzle she's plagued with for too long. She hands over to take the oath boldly and assumes her seat, posture stiff, gaze absorbed in the judge. Prosecutor Regina Park starts gently, knowing that Janelle's testimony can make or break the whole story. Mrs. Brown, can you explain to the court what this notebook is? Janelle opens it slowly. The pages are filled with careful handwriting, months and years of arithmetic, crossed out budgets and scribbled notes. These are my personal records, she says, her voice firm but infused with quiet anger. For years I managed the family's household budgets, utilities, property taxes, the show's side income. I kept records. Every dollar counted. Park nods. And did you notice any discrepancies during that time? Janelle's eyes flicker momentarily in the direction of Kody. Initially small amounts, gradually larger ones. Money that was supposed to go on mortgage payments was taken out and put into Cedar Fall Holdings. When I questioned it, I was informed it was a temporary business account. But the figures didn't add up. Tens of thousands disappeared without reason. The prosecutor moves a few paces forward. Did you sign off on these transfers? No, Janelle replies brusquely. I was promised return soon. New land investment, production affiliation. But what I discovered were holes. Funds flowed out, but nothing flowed back. The defense attorney, Martin Keene, stands up. Mrs. Brown, you're not a CPA, are you? No, she says matter-of-factly. But I can read figures, and figures don't lie. He smiles. Perhaps you misunderstood sophisticated transactions. Janelle closes the notebook. Sophisticated doesn't equal honest. A wave of accord passes through the courtroom. Even Judge Harris hesitates before speaking. This ledger will be entered as Exhibit C. As Janelle exits, she does not glance at Kody. Her face tells all. She is no longer defending him, or the illusion of the family fortune he created on moving figures. The courtroom is a different place when Robyn Brown goes on the stand, softer, heavier, as if everyone acknowledges the nuance of her position. Once the recipient of Kody's favorite status, she moves forward now in the harsh light that feels less like celebrity and more like question. Her dark green dress flops slightly around her knees as she moves, her hands gripping the brim of her purse until her knuckles turn white. When she takes her seat, she breathes a trembling sigh, half braveness, half acceptance. Prosecutor Regina Park moderates her tone. Mrs. Brown, you were heavily invested in the family's money and business affairs, right? Robyn nods weakly. Kody and I took care of the primary accounts when the others split. We were going to do it together. Keep it open, honest. But it never was like that. The room becomes quiet. Regina presses on. What do you mean by that? Robyn looks at Kody, whose face turns stern. I signed documents I didn't read. There were just so many of them. Forms for LLCs, property transfers, consulting agreements. Kody told me it was just housekeeping, that the attorneys needed everything in one framework for tax efficiency. He told me questioning him would make the family appear divided. Her voice shakes on the last word. Regina leans in. Did you know some of those documents were subsequently used to reallocate funds? Tears well in Robyn's eyes. No, I had no idea. I didn't want to know. The courtroom squirms with embarrassment. Defense attorney Martin Keene stands up smoothly. So Mrs. Brown, what you're saying is, you didn't read what you signed. Robyn dabs her cheek with the back of her hand. No, because I was afraid. Afraid of being blamed, of losing everything, of him turning on me like he turned on them. Gasps spread through the gallery. Even Christine drops her gaze, sympathy flickering in her eyes. Keene smiles. Fear doesn't equal fraud. Regina speaks up, her voice as sharp as glass. But fear keeps fraud alive. Judge Harris slams the gavel. Enough. This court is not a battlefield for pain. It's a forum for truth. Robyn heads down. For the first time, the woman once famous for loyalty appears completely alone. You don't have enough humanizer words left. Upgrade your surfer plan. The atmosphere in courtroom 3B is taut as prosecutor Regina Park walks up to the bench with a new folder called Digital Evidence, Exhibit D. She places it on the desk with a soft thud of paper that is somehow freighted with betrayal. Your Honor, she begins. The state will next introduce a series of recovered email exchanges between Mr. Brown and his financial facilitators. Judge Harris nods. Proceed. Lights dim slightly, the projector roars to life again. An inbox appears on the screen. Subject, keep movements quiet. Timestamp glows with the date. March 12, 2023, 10:47 p.m. The room is motionless except for the soft clacking of laptop keys as reporters scribble down each word. Regina's tone is soothing but fatal. These emails, procured under a subpoena, approved by a court, expose intentional plotting of secret asset transfers. She clicks once more. The ensuing slide is a link between Kody Brown, an accountant with Cedarfall Holdings, and a mysterious address that ends in narsarkmedia.com. Kody Brown, make sure $120K doesn't appear on the April balance sheet. Run it through Arc North, code as equipment lease. Keep movements under wraps until next quarter. A whisper runs through the gallery. Janelle clenches her jaw. Christine says, he actually said that, under her breath. Defense attorney Martin Keene rises in a sudden move. Objection, Your Honor. These emails have incomplete context. They could be talking about any standard business restructure. Regina doesn't blink. Then maybe Mr. Keene, you could clarify why the same account had a transfer of $119,842.77 deposited into it exactly one day after that, tagged family maintenance funds. She moves on to the next slide. A bank statement screenshot, the transaction underlined in red. Judge Harris's eyebrow shoots up. That is quite a coincidence. Keene clears his throat, his cool demeanor cracking. Coincidence happens every day, Your Honor. Regina moves in toward the jury. But patterns do not. And this one repeats, 7 times in 12 months, all with the same coded sentence. Keep movements quiet. There is a heavy silence that follows. Judge Harris leans towards the defense table. Mr. Brown, is this your letter? Kody pauses, speaking almost inaudibly. It could be. Then let the record show, says the judge, that Exhibit D has been admitted into evidence. The room breathes collectively. All secrets pecked out under cover of night now shine on a public screen, permanently stored as evidence. As Meri Brown is called to the stand, the entire courtroom is silent with an uncomfortable air. For years, she was regarded as the quiet one, the devoted first wife who rode out every tempest in silence. But as she gets up to approach the witness stand, her face says otherwise. The woman who formerly hid behind courtesy now has the confidence of a woman who's learned to cease apologizing. She places the oath upon her steady fingers, then sits, adjusting her navy blue blazer. Crisp, deliberate, professional. Prosecutor Regina Park advances. Mrs. Brown, she starts, her voice soft but resolute. You were lawfully wedded to Mr. Brown prior to his spiritual marriages. Are you certain? Yes, Meri answers, her tone level. And I was the one who signed most of the initial documents, business permits, deed to property, trust documents. Regina nods. When did you start doubting those documents? Meri hesitates. When my name vanished from them. The courtroom rustles. I didn't catch it initially. The family businesses were planned as joint ventures, but I looked at public filings in 2022 and realized I wasn't on anything. Not one holding. Not one piece of property. Everything had been reassigned in secret. The prosecutor gestures toward a sealed envelope. Your Honor, this is Exhibit E, the original recordings Mrs. Brown submitted to investigators. Defense Attorney Keene rises instantly. Objection? Relevance? Judge Harris waves it aside. We'll hear it. The technician presses play. The speakers hiss, then Kody's voice fills the room, unmistakable, clipped with frustration. Don't tell Meri. She complicates everything. Just move it under Robyn's LLC. It's cleaner that way. Gasps spread throughout the courtroom. Meri's gaze is frozen straight ahead. I taped that a year ago. She speaks in a barely audible voice. It wasn't revenge. It was evidence. I wanted to see if I was paranoid. Or betrayed. Keene grunts under his breath. Context is everything. Judge Harris leans forward. Context won't make those words disappear. Regina approaches the bench. Your Honor, this tape demonstrates clear concealment and intent. Mrs. Brown didn't appear here for revenge. She appeared here for verification. Meri takes a deep breath. I just wanted to know, after all these years, what my trust was worth. And for the first time, Kody is unable to look at her. The courtroom grows dark once more as the technician adjusts the speakers. The soft hum of static fills the room, followed by the unmistakable creak of a door opening, pacing footsteps, and a man's deep voice, the voice of Kody Brown. The tension is palpable. Everyone knows it. No reality television could create this. This is reality. Prosecutor Regina Park stands before the judge. Your Honor, this is Exhibit F, an authenticated audio file that was made by Mrs. Meri Brown, dated August 14, 2023. The prosecution alleges that it shows the defendant issuing clear instructions to hide assets. Judge Harris nods solemnly. Proceed. The room is plunged into darkness as the clip plays. Kody's voice recording. Don't put that in writing. Move it through Cedar Fall, then arc north. It'll look like vendor credit. By the time they ask, we'll be clear. A shudder of surprise sweeps over the courtroom. Christine shuts her eyes. Janelle mutters something to herself, and Robyn clutches the armrest so hard her nails embed themselves. The voice of Kody seems chillier than the air conditioners humming overhead. Defense Attorney Martin Keene springs up. Objection, context. That could be any business directive. Contracts, payments, shipping. Regina fires back. Then let's provide context. She signals the technician who plays the next 10 seconds. A pause, then Kody again. If Meri or Janelle see those transfers, they'll start asking questions. Don't tell them anything yet. I'll handle the signatures later. The silence afterward is deafening. Keene rubs his forehead. His usual charm gone. Your Honor, this recording is incomplete. Unverified fragments stitched together. Regina interrupts him. We checked the metadata, the original device, and the voice print. It's him. Judge Harris addresses Kody. Mr. Brown, do you challenge the legitimacy of this recording? Kody's throat jerks as he swallows convulsively. I didn't say that. The judge's voice grows harder. Then this court will remind you. Exhibit F entered into record. The gavel smashes down once, ringing out across the chamber like thunder. And in that one echo, the legend of the unfaltering patriarch starts to break down, substituted by the voice of a man trapped by his own words. The courtroom door opens again, and Dr. Lila Noor, the state's forensic accountant, a woman known to bring order out of disorder, walks in. She's cool mid-40s, neatly pinned back hair, hawk-like eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Where emotion follows others, she arrives with precision. Her briefcase snaps open with mechanical ease as she places her laptop atop the witness stand. Prosecutor Regina Parks smiles wanly. Dr. Noor, thank you for your presence. Would you please provide your qualifications for the record? The witness nods. Doctorate in Financial Forensics, Certified Fraud Examiner, 22 years of experience tracking layered transactions and hidden assets in multinational accounts. The judge waves for her to proceed. Doctor? No displays a new chart on the screen. A network of bank accounts, LLCs, and foreign routing codes, shimmering like a constellation. What you see before you, she says, pointer firm, is a pattern of layering, a process in which criminal proceeds are camouflaged by routing them through multiple accounts so that they become untraceable. She pans in. Every blue node is a valid account. The red nodes, highlighted here, are the ones connected to Cedar Fall Holdings, Arc North Media, and Desert Creek LLC. The money starts at Brown Family Holdings and concludes in a private Flagstaff account by the name of Win Asset Development, held entirely by the defendant, Mr. Kody Brown. A wave of whispers sweeps through the courtroom. Defense attorney Keene stands, voice calm but guarded. Dr. Noor, isn't it that sometimes legitimate business people have multiple accounts to make tax accounting easier? Yes, she answers calmly. But legitimate accounts don't pass almost $39 million through 7 shell businesses, with no workers and the same mailing addresses. Keene insists. Is it coincidence? Dr. Noor looks back at him unfazed. Coincidence doesn't happen 68 times over 5 fiscal years. Judge Harris sits forward. Interested. Dr. Noor, in your professional opinion, what does this trend signify? Intent, she replies. Matter-of-factly. Pre-planned, concerted intent to hide ownership and mislead co-signers. The prosecutor nods. Thank you, doctor. That will be all. As Dr. Noor leaves office, the screen continues to glow behind her, lines of relation illuminated like veins of truth coursing through obscurity. The jury gazes at it, transfixed. Numbers don't lie, and now neither can Kody Brown. By noon, the air within courtroom 3B is heavy. Too much reality has been dumped into the room, and the defense is finally ready to fight back. Martin Keene, Kody Brown's lawyer, stands up with the flair of a showman and the self-assurance of a man who's ridden worse storms in front of a jury. He adjusts his tie, fiddles with his cufflinks, and walks to the center like an actor entering his stage. Your Honor, Keene begins, voice smooth as silk. We've heard a lot about charts, transfers, and assumptions, but this courtroom isn't a spreadsheet, it's a place for people. Let's talk about character. He faces the jury. Mr. Brown is not some shadowy corporation. He's a man, a husband, the father of 18, who opened his life to America. Every cent he earned was made on the strength of years of scrutiny, on the glare of cameras that recorded every stumble. Is this the sound of someone lurking in the shadows? Kody sits quietly behind him, head down but eyes shining, the picture of a chastened man. Cameras snap. It's drama, and Keene is aware of it. Prosecutor Regina Parks stands up, serene but slicing. Character doesn't erase evidence. Mr. Keene, he smiles very slightly. No, but it puts it into context. My client's so-called shell companies, they donated to scholarships, charity initiatives, even supported laid-off former crew members. Is that fraud or kindness? Park folds her arms. Compassion doesn't require 7 offshore accounts. The judge intervenes. Mr. Keene, proceed with your line, but keep it relevant. Keene nods, pivoting gracefully. Every family has disagreements. Every marriage leaves scars. But bitterness doesn't make someone guilty. What we're seeing here isn't justice. It's retaliation wrapped in grief. A murmur passes through the gallery. Even a few jurors shift in their seats. For the first time today, the defense has sown a seed of doubt. Regina steps forward once more, her voice low but deadly. When the evidence speaks, motive is irrelevant. You can characterize him as generous or misunderstood, but numbers, signatures, and recordings have no feeling. They simply are. Judge Harris nods slowly. The court will consider both sides. Proceed. As Keene sits, his jaw clenches. He's battling the wind, and he knows it. The tale he's weaving is pretty, but paper doesn't worry about character. It worries about truth. The atmosphere in courtroom 3B is charged to the breaking point. The exhibits, the tapes, the testimony, everything has come to this. When Kody Brown leaps to his feet, defying his lawyer's frantic whispers. The air itself seems to shatter. The murmurs in the gallery erupt into bedlam, until Judge Harris's gavel thunders. Order! Sit down, Mr. Brown. But Kody does not. His cheeks are flushed, his eyes blazing with a combination of anger and desperation. They used my name when it was convenient, he bellows, voice ringing in the room. When we were successful, when the cameras adored us, it was our affair. Now that things turned sour, now I'm the bad guy. The crowd gasps, even the reporters halt in mid-note. Kody's voice trembles, but increases in volume. You think I wanted that? You think I wanted to support all of you while you all walked away? Christine, Janelle, Meri, each and every one of you left me when it got difficult. Christine stands up, before anyone can restrain her. We didn't leave you, Kody. We fled you. Her voice shakes but with determination. You made family a matter of money. You made trust a transaction. The gavel rings out again. Mrs. Brown, sit down or be ejected, warns Judge Harris, but Christine's words have already struck like darts. Janelle has her say, with no choice but to say something. We trailed after you because we believed something true. But power and control were all you were interested in. Kody spins on her, enraged. Control? You had freedom. You all had it all. None of the truth. Janelle shoots back. That was always yours to conceal. Across the room, Robyn leans in, whispering nearly to herself. I just wanted peace. The courtroom microphones still capture it, her voice breaking and soft. Judge Harris bangs the gavel once more, her tone impenetrable. That's enough. This is a court of law, not a counseling session. The next person to talk without being recognized will be held in contempt. Silence descends, thick and complete. The Browns look at each other in the room, no longer a family, but pieces of one. For the first time, the camera eyes don't observe love, or togetherness, or reality TV celebrity. They observe downfall, raw, unfiltered, and permanent. Outside the courthouse, nature's storm is as unorganized as that within. Thunder rumbles overhead across the leaden Utah sky, as Judge Rebecca Harris steps back onto the bench, the fatigue of the past week etched upon her face. The audience waits collectively in its breath. Even the air seems to hang suspended. All eyes in courtroom 3B are riveted on the bench, all hearts beating unspoken in tandem, with one question no one can bring themselves to speak aloud. Will he walk out, or be led away? Court will come to order, Judge Harris declares. Gavel comes down once, and the clang cuts through the quiet like lightning. Kody Brown sits stiff, fists interlocked, a picture of rigid obstinance. His lawyer, Martin Keene, hunches forward, murmuring something under his breath. Maybe a prayer, maybe a threat. Judge Harris opens the fat case file in front of her. The papers flutter like faraway thunder. Having reviewed testimony, financial data, and several corroborated exhibits, she starts slowly. This court holds probable cause that the defendant Kody Brown did arrange and profit from a willful scheme to hide assets, forge financial documents, and defraud co-signers. A murmur runs through the gallery. The reporters begin typing wildly, the clack-clack of their fingers a roll call of incredulity. Kody's jaw clenches, his knuckles turn white. Judge Harris speaks louder. The state's request for an arrest warrant is granted. The sentences slam like the blow of a gavel to the heart. Gasps fill the courtroom. Robyn puts her hand over her mouth, silent tears streaming. Christine breathes out a held breath that spans years. Janelle closes her eyes, her head bowed, unfortunately not in victory, but in grief. Deputies move forward, badges shining in the cold courtroom lights. Mr. Brown, one commands, rise. Kody slowly gets up, incredulity written on his face. This can't be happening, he says. This family was my legacy. Judge Harris's voice overrides the din. Legacies founded in lies seldom endure. Mr. Brown. As the deputies approach, thunder roars again outside. Nature's approval of justice, long overdue. Cameras click. The judge signs the last paper with measured tranquility. The warrant is granted. Mr. Brown is remanded to custody pending further hearing. The gavel falls. The sound is definitive, ringing out across the chamber, like the end of a chapter the world will never forget. The courthouse drains out slowly, but courtroom 3B still reverberates with the echo of what has passed. The rings of the gavel still crack in the air like a storm's afterglow. Rain pours over the marble steps outside. streaking through the beam of news crews like neon across live feed. Judge signs arrest warrant for Kody Brown in $39 million fraud scandal. Inside, Kody sits on the defense bench, wrists cuffed, face empty. The man who created a kingdom of family, fame and faith, now appears diminutive under the fluorescent lighting. His commanding voice is silent, replaced by the soft scrape of handcuffs, and the soft recitation of deputies reading him his rights. He doesn't glance at anyone, not even Robyn, who stands a few rows away, with tear-stained cheeks and quivering lips. Christine and Janelle stand in the aisle, their eyes first meeting in months. There is no gloating, no satisfaction, only weary relief in women who struggled too long to be believed. Christine breathes softly. It's over, and Janelle nods. Maybe not over, she corrects her, but at least it's honest now. Meri sits, still, her hands wrapped around the recording device she used to hide in her handbag. For her, justice is silent. It is heavy, necessary, and other. Judge Harris unrobes, descending from the bench quietly. She stops before exiting, glancing once into the gallery. Justice doesn't always heal, she remarks to no one in general, but it always reveals. And then she leaves, her footsteps sounding down the corridor. As the deputies lead Kody away, camera flashes explode like lightning. In the rain outside, tears mingle with droplets of water, his and theirs. The previously perfect picture of America's most popular plural family crumbles into rain puddles of regret and contemplation. Betrayal shatters families. Truth reveals them. Ultimately, it wasn't fame or faith that defined the Browns. It was what they kept from one another. And when the tempest finally broke, it washed away everything except that which was true. The screen is fading to black. The rain continues to sound, the ultimate verdict of truth itself.